Well, it's 23 degrees, and it's dewy and misty in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. But never mind, I believe the sun will eventually come through this morning. But just in case it doesn't, come out wherever it is you are. Your daily dose of sunshine is here. Good morning, and welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Maokwe Ogunyuse.
I thought you were going to deny us the daily dose of sunshine line this morning, and I've come for you. Amaya Makinde, good morning and welcome. It's 26 degrees here in Lagos, and it is, again, the 21st day in the month of July 2025. Welcome to the show.
Well, indeed, Ayo, quite a number of things to look at this morning, because as we have been saying constantly on the program, it does appear that the political scenery is heating up, but not the kind of heat that we want to see, not the sort of heat that we've heard about in recent times. We want to believe that when politicians will play, that they will learn to play fair and square. The 2027, the flag-off season has not yet been opened, but it does appear that political actors are already aligning forces. Some of them in ways that, is bringing concern to a number of people. And I do know that on sister programs, quite a number of people have also tried to draw the attention of the Edo State government to a statement credited to the governor of Edo State, seeming to warn the Labour Party candidate in the 2023 elections, in the 2023 presidential elections, that he shouldn't come to Edo State because his security will never be guaranteed. That was what he said. And a number of people have said, what did he mean by that? Because every individual is supposed to have the right to freedom of movement across the country, whether or not they were presidential candidates in any elections or not. So precisely what did he mean? And, we've been seeing statements being sent out by the Edo State government to say, he's been misunderstood. What we're trying to say was different from what it is that we've heard. But I think until we hear from the horse's mouth himself, what exactly he was trying to say by that statement, there would be a lot left to be desired by what people understood from the import of what he said. But this morning, we're not going to be looking at all of the trending matters alone, because we also have on the front burner this issue of Senator Natasha resuming at the National Assembly following a court order, following a judgment of the Federal High Court here in Abuja. There's been some dispute over the meaning or the interpretation of that particular court judgment. The senator representing Kogi Central has said she's going to be going back to work this week. But just yesterday, the Senate issued another statement saying that for the third time, there is no subsistent court order mandating the Senate to recall Senator Natasha before the expiration of her tenure. The Senate, the court ruling amount was merely advisory. Now, that is still also on the front burner. So quite a number of issues to look at. Developments around the constitutional amendments. Don't forget that the Patriots also had their meeting here. But as I did say, we're not alone to look at these matters. We have with us now, virtually this morning, joining us, Aisha Yesufu, who is a political activist. I'm unclear as to whether she's a member of the ADC, but I think that she will clarify to us if she is now a member of that. Good morning, Mrs. Yesufu. It's good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunrise Daily.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Great. So I wanted to clarify first, are you a part of this grand coalition of the ADC?
Yes, I am a part of the coalition. Okay. Absolutely.
So it is okay to call you a member of the ADC as well?
I'm not yet a member of the ADC, but anytime I am, I'll let you know. Okay. I'll let everyone know, but I'm not yet a member.
Okay, so you're a part of it, but not a member. How does that work?
So the way it works is that it's a party that has been adopted for 2027 election, and there are a lot of people who are part of it. They are not yet members of ADC. They are still in their respective parties. So for me, I'm not yet a card-carrying member. I sort of like, so this is the thing. I've never been a card-carrying member of any party up till now. So there's a thing about when you join a party, you have to follow its constitution, the rules and everything. And I have a big mouth, figuratively and physically, and I love to use my mouth. So I'm still at that place where I'm like, okay, let me take my time before I join a party, because you know, when you're in a particular association, or you have to go by the rules, and probably I won't be as free as I am right now. But anytime I am, I would let you know.
Okay, so we're looking out for that particular notice. But these are the events that we're currently tracking, you know, this week, developments that we're looking at. We've seen, let's start first with that issue of the governor of Edo State. And I believe that our producers have that particular video. So for those who missed it over the weekend and haven't caught it anywhere, here's what the governor of Edo State said at a particular rally. Okay, it does appear that that video will come to us later, but, you know, I'm sure that you must have seen that particular video. It was a very short clip, but the message was unmistakable. He was talking about the security of the person of Governor Peter Obi, who was former governor, president candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. And the governor was saying that that said he does not have shishi. Well, tell him not to come to Edo State, something to that effect, because his security can never be guaranteed. And he made reference to people who died at a rally. He said 3 people died. It's unclear. And he was saying, look, his security can never be guaranteed if he doesn't tell me when he's coming, something to that effect. What did you make of that?
He said it was it wasn't something that you mistake, right? He said what he said, and he said it very clearly, and he said it very loudly. He said, your security will not be guaranteed. If you come in, anything that happens to you, you know, it's on you. So, and that's a threat to his life. Beyond that, also, is the fact that the Edo State government also came out with a statement where they said that he wasn't threatening him, but he needs to tell him when he's coming, and also get security clearance. I don't know what gave Governor Monday Okpebholo the audacity that he can actually give security clearance for any Nigerian to be able to come to Edo State. Edo State is not his family estate. Yeah, he currently might be the one who is governing the state, but he doesn't have the right to give anybody clearance for them to be anywhere. But beyond that also, Marco, I think there's a video that you need to also look for to play. And this is I think, from the person in that video is said to be the ADC chairman, who actually had a press conference, because in the video you could see the mic of, you know, media houses. And he was loud and clear that anybody that the Edo State governor said what he said, and he supports what he said. That means the party, APC, supports what the Edo State governor had said. And there were a lot of references. There were more threats that he made. One, he said that anybody that stands in his way, in their way, in Edo State, that they are going to smoke the person. We know the parlance, the street parlance. When you say you're going to smoke the person, it simply means you're going to kill the person. And I wonder what the Nigerian police is doing. If it was Aisha Yesufu that did the video and said they were going to smoke someone, they would have been all over my house to come and arrest me. But for someone who is said to be the APC, you know, chairman in Edo State, I don't think they've done any arrest. And we can't have some Nigerians thinking there are more Nigerians than others, or they have the monopoly of violence. There was also something he said there that, oh, the governor, that the people of Edo State hate Mr. Peter Obi. I'm from Edo State. I'm from Agbede. I am the granddaughter of Benomo. I'm the great-granddaughter of Owari. And those are names in Edo State that people would know. I'm from Agbede powerhouse, and you can't tell me that people in Edo State, they hate Mr. Peter Obi. In fact, they love me, Mr. Peter Obi. It's the governor that they need to go and do a survey to find out if there are people who actually like him and the way he's doing, especially people of Edo North being killed every day, and nothing is happening, nothing is being said about that. Then the APC, governor also made another reference to say that members of ADC should not identify themselves as ADC in Edo State, that they only recognize PDP, and that they should leave the state. those are threats to people's lives. And I think the security agencies should be picking up the APC chairman in Edo State and actually asking him who are the people that he is going after and are the lives of people safe. He also mentioned the fact that 3 people died after Mr. Peter Obi had come to Edo State. First of all, we need to know who are these 3 people that are there, because they're dropping this number. What did the governor do? Has the governor met the families of these people? What has he done in securing the lives of the people, since he calls himself the chief security officer of the state? I mean, who has he met? They can't just be dropping numbers or information or fake news just like that without anybody probing them. I think the security agencies need to swing into action in Edo State, because we have literally people who are threatening the lives of people in that state, and we can't have that continue to happen.
Okay, so while I mean, this is me, because you just mentioned 3 people who died, which we also heard in that statement, and it was talking about money that was shared somewhere, and at the end of the day, you know, it would appear that maybe while people were struggling for money, there was a stampede. I don't know. I mean, I'm just.
So let me just quickly add, Mope. Yeah. Peter Obi, you understand? So sometimes I say, oh my goodness, 1.5 million, 15 million. Mm-hmm. It was 15 million that he gave, right? Yeah. And he gave it. We usually give us this check, this blown up big check that they normally give. Mm-hmm. He doesn't go with cash and start. He wasn't sharing money to the students. He gave the school, and he had been there before. He gave the school. He does this in a lot of places. There was nothing that had to do with him. So the Edo State governor, he needs to now tell us who are these people that are there, because their life should matter to him. It shouldn't be something that he's going to drop, you know, by the way that he's going to drop. And then there was also something in the statement that they made that were released by the Edo State government based on the threat that the Edo State governor had made to Mr. Peter Obi, where he was saying that, oh, he's not like Mr. Peter Obi, who got Mr. Malam Nasiru El-Rufai detained or arrested in Anambra State. And that statement is very, it's not factual. Mr. Peter Obi never arrested former governor of Kaduna State. He was arrested in Anambra State, and he was arrested by DSS. And the order from above, from the center, it never had anything to do with Mr. Peter Obi. So the Edo State governor, I think we now should ask him who are these people that died, because he can't just keep dropping news that are fake, news that are not factual, and just for him to get away with it because he feels that it's not going to be questioned by people or the authorities.
This is the second time we're saying this. I mean, first time I think it was in Benue, where the governor, you know, dropped a cryptic message of sorts, and you know, it was Mr. Peter Obi who came out to say this message is addressed to me, and that he had tried to go and see people in IDP camps, and you know, he had been told that, you know, he couldn't reach the governor. He narrated the entire experience he had with the governor. But I'm wondering, as somebody who is really close to him and somebody who has been supportive of his presidential ambitions, do you think that there should be extra precautions taken around his movement, you know, to states, especially now that we're now beginning to see, will I say, governors a little more, will I say, unwelcoming of his into their states, and put it that way?
Yeah, beyond unwelcoming, it's also very unconstitutional in the statements they are making and the stance they are making. And for everybody that sees it, you could see you see the tactics that is going on, and I think there is fear. The APC government is very much afraid of Mr. Peter Obi and what he represents, and the fact that he goes around meeting with people, he gives hope that they have stolen from the people, and he's welcome in any way that you see him. And so you're getting to see these tactics that they want to assume that, oh, he shouldn't come to their state. You know, the second governor has said it. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see the third, fourth, and fifth one and going on. And so, yes, there's now Nigerians, or we should be worried about the situation of things right now, because there are threats to his life, and these threats are not things that should be taken very lightly, and these threats are not being made by people whom you just, dismiss with a wave of the hand. These are people who are supposed to be, upstanding members of the society, but they are using their threats against Mr. Peter Obi. Yeah, of course, it's something that is worrisome, and I think the state in itself should, well, if there was a state, that is, because we have a state capture in Nigeria. Otherwise, security agencies should be very, should be on alert and ensure that they're safeguarding, Mr. Peter Obi. At this stage, honestly, his life is in danger, because we are seeing people who feel very uncomfortable, who feel threatened by his popularity, by the fact that people like him, by the fact that people, he's out there doing the things that they should be doing. The failure of government, he's the one who is fixing it. And at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we see it every day. He happens to be the de facto, president of Nigeria, because every problem, everything that you would usually call in the president, it's Mr. Peter Obi that is being called instead of the person who is currently occupied.
Okay, let me go to my colleague, Ayo. I'm sure he would like to take you up on this matter which you have been following in the court with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Ayo.
Well, madam, that's one of the angles to that story over time has been, okay, so what does the law say? What do people say? What are the reactions making the rounds about this and about that? The Senate has had its say, the court has made a pronouncement, but of course, you know that the camp of Senator Natasha is also making their own comments. What are your thoughts on the process, particularly given all the judgment as opposed to the comments that trailed the issue when it first arose? Okay, madam, can you hear me now? Okay, good. I was asking, you are not unaware of the Senator Natasha case and that it has gone as far as the court, and the court has already made a pronouncement. So what are your thoughts on the different, well, the diversity of perspectives to the court ruling, which some say is clear, but then Senator Natasha is saying something else? What are your thoughts on that case?
That the suspension by the Senate is unconstitutional, and if something is unconstitutional, it simply means that it's unlawful. It should never have happened in the first place, especially something coming from an institution that is supposed to be the one upholding the Constitution. Because in a democracy, the legislative arm of government is the bedrock, is the one, that makes laws, is the one that is supposed to protect the institution. Because when you don't have, when there's no democracy, the first thing that is set aside is the Constitution, and also the legislative arm is scrapped. And for that body to be doing something that is unconstitutional, that says a lot. Having said that, also is the fact that the court didn't stop Natasha from going in, and so she has a right to resume office, because the court has ruled that whole suspension to be unconstitutional. First of all, the Senate is not the one that made Senator Natasha a senator. It was her people that gave her that, and there's no way that you're going to deprive people who are probably in their millions the opportunity for them to have a representative at the Senate, and the legislative duties that she's supposed to take on, you take that away from them. Beyond that also is the fact that there was also a court ruling where the Senate was asked to stop when they were going on that proceeding of suspending her. They were asked to stop it, but they didn't obey the court ruling. So the Senate has shown, even to Nigerians and the public, that there's rascality, that it can do whatever it wants to do. And so it's also saying to the people, don't obey court rulings. For a body that makes that it's one of the one of the two bodies that make laws. I mean, it's something that should worry every Nigerian. And I think Senator Natasha has every right to resume office. And by tomorrow, by the grace of God, she's not going to resume alone. There are people who are going to go with her, and I'll be one of those people that we will be with her and stand with her. And if the Senate decide that they're going to kill us, let them kill us, because at the end of the day, they've shown us that we are not wanted. Out of 109 senators, we have only 4 women, and then yet they keep, you go after them. You're going after this particular lady who has done nothing other than discharge her duties the way she should. And the same thing that they say, oh, she has done, she didn't speak from a seat of where she is and all of that. How many other senators have done that, have even done worse than that? Even the Senate president himself has done worse than that. Nobody suspended him. Enough of us being treated in this country as if we are second-class citizens. So, yeah, she will resume by the grace of God tomorrow. She wants to be there, and as long as she's ready to be there, I will be by her side. And any Nigerian that feels that injustice to one is injustice to all should also join her tomorrow at that Senate to be there.
Well, if you have seen that judgment, madam, the number 10 on the item says that the judge says, and I quote, "I find this excessive." That's the sentence, the 6-month sentence that you spoke to earlier. "I find this excessive and overreaching, noting that it will prevent a member from complying with Section 63 of the 1999 Constitution." Well, I'm not sure that the court actually outrightly said it's unconstitutional, but that the judge is saying it is excessive. The judge asked the court, the Senate, to review its own rules, and that the judge says that the Senate has the power to, and I believe should, recall the plaintiff and allow her to resume representing the people who sent her there to represent them. Does that, in your opinion, amount to an order of the court?
Well, you remember the first time when I said that, unfortunately, in Nigeria, the judiciary that is supposed to be the last resort of the common man is now the plating of corrupt politicians, and the politicians are brazen about that. We have now the judiciary has gotten to a place where even the judgment that it puts down, it has to look at the body language of whoever it is that is dictating what it is that they're going to write down. The CTC, you've read the CTC, but there was pronouncement before the CTC. And what is supposed to be under CTC is what the judge had said. And this way, the suspension was unconstitutional. And, Nigerians were aghast because we are in a place where there are so many problems that are hitting us at different times. We can't even take on a lot of, fundamental things that are going wrong within our society, where one pronouncement is made, what is said, and then when you now come to the CTC, you're seeing something different. And where now you are having judges, instead of them making a ruling, they are going on to give opinion and say, in their opinion. You can't be a judge and be doing your opinion. But anyway, that's what is there. She had said it was unconstitutional. And I think we need to this is the time where we now begin to say we need to get to a place where we have stenographers who are putting everything down as it's being said. And there should be a ruling that not a word will be changed for that. If cameras were allowed in courts, and I don't know why cameras are not allowed in the courts, they will tell you not to film this, not to do that. If cameras are allowed, we wouldn't have a situation whereby what you hear being said becoming different from what is on the CTC.
Well, just one last one on that, because I know that we're out of time. But you do also know that the judge made a comment about her apologizing to the courts on 1 or 2 issues, and that the apology should be put on certain platforms. Do you think that is a condition precedent to her resumption?
Yeah, so I think if I'm not mistaken, she's challenging that. The court did say, first of all, the apology is to the court. What the ruling said, I don't know the ruling, whether the CTC was changed, but the apology is to the court and not to the Senate on the satire that she had written, the satirical apology that she had written, and then they also fined her, 5 million. First of all, I think it wasn't the business of the court to address that particular court, because the satire was on the issue of the sexual allegation that she had, which is on another which is before another court. And so this particular case was on her suspension. So why is the court bringing something that is not related to the issue at hand and bringing it and joining it with the case that she had? Let the other sexual allegation issue continue on that. And so for me, like I said earlier, it still comes down to the fact that we have a judicial capture. And I think the judiciary, for those, and I know there are a good number of them who are doing the right thing, who are upstanding, they need to begin to speak out more, because right now they are really making a laughingstock of themselves.
All right, Aisha Yesufu, political activist and also member, or will I say affiliated member of the ADC. We have to thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. We certainly will be keeping tracks with you tomorrow, because you have said you're also going to be with Senator Natasha as she attempts to resume at the chambers of the Senate tomorrow. Thank you so much for speaking with us
And
this
if we
morning.
don't make it, if the Senate are ending up going to kill us because we are doing whatever they bring in their security, if we don't make it, Nigerians fight for your rights.
Well, I believe that it will not get to that. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we will be having another matter with a very distinguished guest as well. Please stay with us.